Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Rare coins turn ordinary pocket change into potential treasures beyond your wildest imagination, and today's feature will absolutely captivate every coin enthusiast and collector alike as we dive deep into the story of a 2009 1-cent coin that has taken the numismatic world by storm. Valued at an astonishing $892 due to a series of incredible errors and mistakes that make it one of the most sought-after Lincoln cents in modern American coin history, and while many people might dismiss a penny as insignificant, this particular example is proof that what seems like a simple copper-colored coin can actually carry secrets, stories, and flaws that elevate its value far beyond its face worth, and it all begins with the year 2009 itself, which was already a historic year for the Lincoln Cent series, as it marked the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth as well as the centennial of the first Lincoln Cent issued in 1909, and in honor of this momentous occasion, the U.S. Mint released four distinct reverse designs representing different stages of Lincoln's life, from his birth and early childhood in Kentucky, to his formative years in Indiana, to his professional life in Illinois, and finally, his presidency in Washington, D.C., each design carrying unique imagery and symbolism that collectively painted a picture of one of America's greatest leaders. And while the artistic and historical significance of the 2009 Lincoln Cents was well received, what truly transformed these coins into numismatic legends were the numerous errors and minting anomalies that occurred during their production, with some coins exhibiting doubling, die clashes, misalignments, off-centering, missing elements, and even the use of incorrect planchets, and among these errors, several stand out as being particularly rare and valuable, such as the 2009 formative years double die reverse where Lincoln's fingers are clearly doubled when viewed under magnification, creating a strong visual error that excites collectors and drives up auction prices, and similar doubling errors have been reported across all four designs, with varying degrees of visibility and severity, but it's not just doubling that makes these coins worth hundreds of dollars, as other examples have shown missing elements such as absent initials, notably the designer's initials FG, on the reverse of the professional life design, which due to grease-filled dies or improper striking pressure can vanish completely, making those coins stand out rarities in circulated and uncirculated rolls alike. And speaking of die-related issues, the use of overused or damaged dies has resulted in severe die cracks and cuds on many 2009 cents, with some coins exhibiting large raised blobs or lines where the metal filled in broken parts of the die, creating one-of-a-kind patterns that are highly collectible due to their uniqueness, and collectors value such pieces not only for the error itself but also for how it showcases the minting process and its potential for imperfections. And then there are off-center strikes where the image on the coin is noticeably shifted, sometimes as much as 10% to 50%, leaving a blank crescent-shaped area on one side of the coin which can dramatically affect its value depending on how much detail remains visible, and in some cases, the date and mint mark are still present despite the off-center strike, making the coin especially desirable. And it doesn't end there, because certain 2009 cents were struck on improper planchets, including coins meant for foreign currency or different denominations, resulting in underweight or overweight pieces, and these planchet errors often escape the mint's quality control processes due to their close resemblance in size and appearance to legitimate blanks, and these rare instances, such as a 2009 cent struck on a dime planchet, have fetched hundreds and even thousands of dollars at major coin auctions, and when these errors are combined with pristine mint state conditions or assigned high grades by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC, their value skyrockets even further, and some collectors have reported 2009 error cents selling for as high as $1,500 in private sales when the coin features multiple error types or is part of a complete error set. And it's important to note that even circulation-found examples can command impressive premiums, especially if the errors are bold and unmistakable, and the appeal of the 2009 Lincoln Cents is also amplified by the sheer volume and variety of errors that have been discovered, making it a treasure hunt for collectors who sift through rolls and pocket change in hopes of finding a gem. And there's also the added appeal of scarcity, as these errors are not evenly distributed, with some mint locations like the Philadelphia Mint producing more of certain error types than the Denver Mint, and vice versa, creating regional interest and increasing the challenge for collectors seeking to build comprehensive sets. And the 2009 Lincoln Cents' unique historical context, its multiple reverse designs, and the chaotic minting environment of that year have all contributed to a perfect storm of conditions that make these coins fascinating, educational, and financially rewarding for those who recognize their potential. And many coin dealers and numismatic experts now recommend collectors pay close attention to 2009 pennies. Not just for the known errors but also for previously undocumented varieties which may still be hiding in circulation, meaning even now, more than a decade after their release, it's still possible to uncover a rare and valuable error coin in your loose change or a forgotten coin jar, and stories abound of lucky finders who spotted a double die or off-metal strike by chance, leading to windfalls that began with nothing more than a glance at an ordinary penny. And what truly makes the 2009 1-cent coin that sold for $892 so remarkable is its combination of factors. It was a professional life reverse with strong doubling on both Lincoln's legs, and the columns in the background had a striking die crack from the rim to Lincoln's feet, was slightly off-center, and was preserved in near-mint condition with luster intact, making it a multi-era specimen in excellent shape. And such combinations are exceedingly rare, with each additional error multiplying the value in the eyes of collectors and appraisers, and the attention from grading companies further legitimized its rarity, as its encapsulated slab with a detailed label listing all errors and the final price tag attached by the auction house stunned the collecting community and reignited interest in modern era coins, proving once again that age alone doesn't determine value. Rarity, condition, and the story behind the coin matter just as much. And in the case of this 2009 1-cent piece, all the stars aligned to produce a modern marvel that elevates the Lincoln cent to the level of numismatic artistry. And while the face value remains just 1 cent, its real-world value is a testament to how minting mishaps and historical context can turn ordinary into extraordinary. So next time you come across a 2009 penny, don't dismiss it, take a closer look at the details, examine the design carefully, tilt it under the light for any signs of doubling, misalignment, die cracks, or other unusual features, weigh it if you can, and compare it to known varieties online or in coin reference guides, because the next $892 penny could be sitting unnoticed right in your own home. And whether you're a beginner coin enthusiast or a seasoned collector, the story of the 2009 1-cent teaches us that patience, attention to detail, and a bit of luck can turn small discoveries into big rewards. And as long as these coins remain in circulation and their secrets continue to be uncovered, they will forever hold a special place in the hearts and collections of those who appreciate the rich and fascinating world of numismatics, where even a simple penny can carry the weight of history, error, and exceptional value. Next 1976 1-cent USA coin, we bring you astonishing stories from the world of coin collecting, where something as seemingly insignificant as a humble 1-cent coin could turn out to be worth hundreds of dollars or even more if you know what to look for. And today we'll be diving deep into the story behind the 1976 1-cent coin, a piece that has stunned collectors and enthusiasts by fetching as much as $442 thanks to the remarkable and unexpected minting errors and production anomalies that make it not just a historical artifact but a valuable asset in the world of numismatics. And while most people are familiar with the significance of the year 1976 because of the United States bicentennial celebrations, which included specially designed quarters, half dollars, and dollars commemorating 200 years of American independence, many overlook the fact that the Lincoln cent issued in that same year, though not bearing a special bicentennial design, was also part of this iconic historical context. And within this broader environment of high minting output, increased public interest, and elevated coin production across all U.S. mint facilities, the potential for errors and production variances was significantly heightened, leading to the circulation of several flawed coins that would later be recognized for their rarity and value. And among these, the 1976 Lincoln penny stands out not only for being a representative of its era but also because of the numerous confirmed error types and unusual features that make specific specimens extremely collectible and highly sought after, starting with the most well-known and documented varieties such as the double die obverse, where careful examination of the coin under magnification reveals doubled lettering in the motto "In God We Trust" or in the word liberty, or even in the date itself, where overlapping impressions can be seen particularly in the tops of the numbers and letters. And this kind of doubling occurs during the hubbing process, when the die receives more than one misaligned impression from the master hub, creating a distinctive and visually striking anomaly that sharply increases the desirability of the coin among collectors. And another error that has been seen on 1976 cents is the off-center strike, which happens when the planchette is not properly centered between the dies during the minting process, resulting in a coin where a portion of the design is missing and replaced by a blank crescent of exposed planchette surface. and the value of an off-center coin depends greatly on how far off the strike is and whether important features like the date and mint mark remain visible, with more dramatic off-center strikes typically commanding higher prices, especially when they are in uncirculated condition or display attractive luster and patina. And related to this is the broad strike error, in which the coin is struck outside the collar die that usually restrains its shape, allowing the metal to expand more than normal and giving the coin a wider and flatter appearance while still retaining all design elements. And broad-struck 1976 cents are collectible in their own right, especially when paired with other error characteristics like weak strikes or die cracks. And speaking of die cracks, another fascinating and frequently encountered error on 1976 pennies involves cracks and breaks in the dies themselves, which can manifest on the coin as raised lines, ridges, or blobs of extra metal, commonly known as die chips or cuds when they appear near the rim. And coins with dramatic die breaks are particularly interesting because no two are exactly alike, meaning each coin can be considered a unique artifact of the minting process, with some displaying large cuds that obscure significant portions of the design and others having fine spiderweb-like cracks that stretch across Lincoln's profile or the Lincoln Memorial. And these features not only add to the aesthetic appeal of the coin, but also to its narrative as a tangible result of machine wear and tear during an era of increased production pressure. And in addition to die-related errors, planchette flaws also play a critical role in elevating the value of 1976 pennies, with some coins showing lamination errors where thin layers of the coin's surface metal peel away due to impurities or flaws in the metal mixture used to create the planchets. And these coins often display rough or bubbled surfaces, missing flakes, or strange textures that are clearly distinguishable from post-mint damage and command substantial premiums when authenticated. And then there are the rare occurrences of wrong planchette strikes, where a 1976 penny was struck on a planchette intended for another denomination or even a foreign coin, resulting in coins that are the wrong weight, color, or size, such as a penny struck on a dime planchette, resulting in a smaller and lighter coin that shows an incomplete design, or one struck on a foreign copper alloy planchette intended for overseas contract coinage, making it both a historical and collectible curiosity. And these types of wrong planchette errors are highly prized by specialists in mint errors and often fetch several $100s or more depending on condition and confirmation from professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. And another category of error that boosts the value of certain 1976 cents involves the presence of struck-through debris errors, where foreign material such as grease, string, or metal shavings gets between the die and the planchette during the striking process, leaving behind unusual impressions or missing design elements that deviate significantly from normal coins. And these struck-through errors can range from small and subtle to large and unmistakable, with dramatic examples drawing considerable collector interest, especially when the object that caused the error can be identified or inferred from the shape left behind on the coin surface. And in some cases, these errors create eerie or ghostly effects, such as a partial portrait or missing Lincoln Memorial lines, making the coins desirable conversation pieces as well as collectible artifacts. And the variety of errors present in the 1976 penny series is complemented by the differences in mint marks and die pairings used at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with certain die pairs more likely to produce specific kinds of errors or varieties. And this adds another layer of complexity and intrigue for collectors who seek to catalog every known variation. And while the Philadelphia Mint did not place a mint mark on its coins in 1976, the Denver Mint used the familiar D mark, and many error coins have been discovered from both mints, creating opportunities for set builders and specialists alike to build comprehensive collections of 1976 error cents. And when it comes to value, as in the case of the specific 1976 1 cent that sold for $442, the coin in question featured a remarkable combination of multiple errors, including a dramatic die crack stretching diagonally from Lincoln's head to the rim, like doubling in the word Liberty, and a slight off-center strike that left part of the design near the date slightly clipped, all preserved in nearly uncirculated condition with minimal contact marks and strong eye appeal. And its authenticated and graded status made it an ideal candidate for auction, where it attracted bids from collectors who recognized its unique combination of minting anomalies. And this sale serves as a powerful reminder that it is not only ancient or precious metal coins that can command high prices, but also modern copper-coated zinc or bronze coins when they possess the right combination of rarity, condition, and minting errors. And this has driven an entire segment of the coin collecting community to specialize in modern errors, with 1976 Lincoln cents being a popular target due to the high mintage numbers and the potential for overlooked treasures hiding in plain sight. And as interest in error coins continues to rise, so too does the market value of documented examples, making coins like the 1976 penny not just collectible but also viable investments for those with a keen eye and a bit of patience. And the joy of this pursuit lies not only in the thrill of discovery but also in the stories each coin tells of the machinery that struck it, the dies that wore out, the mint workers who oversaw its creation, and the countless hands it passed through before being recognized for what it truly was. And these stories transform ordinary pennies into historical documents, into artifacts that represent a moment in time frozen in copper and zinc. And so whether you're new to coin collecting or a seasoned veteran, the 1976 Lincoln penny offers a universe of possibilities and the very real potential for turning a single cent into hundreds of dollars. So check your pocket change, inspect your coin jars, and search through rolls from the bank with care and curiosity, because the next $442 penny could be waiting just beneath your fingertips. And in the world of coin collecting, every detail matters, every mistake can become a treasure, and every coin has a story worth telling if you take the time to listen. Next, 2005 1-cent USA coin. Today we're diving into a story that will absolutely fascinate coin enthusiasts, numismatists, and casual viewers alike as we unravel the incredible tale behind a 2005 1-cent coin that has been valued at an astounding $582 due to a series of unique errors and minting mistakes that make it one of the most compelling modern coins to ever roll out of the US Mint. And while most people would glance at a penny and see nothing more than a common copper-plated zinc coin, seasoned collectors know that sometimes, hidden within these coins are clues, tiny mistakes, anomalies, imperfections, that can turn a 1-cent piece into a small fortune. And in the case of the 2005 penny, these clues are layered in complexity, each one building on the other to create a coin of surprising numismatic importance. And before we dive into the details of the specific errors and how they occur, it's important to understand that the 2005 Lincoln cent, like many modern US coins, was mass-produced in the billions, struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. And yet even within such large-scale production, the possibility of errors increases dramatically as dies wear out, machinery malfunctions, human oversight creeps in, and coins are occasionally struck under imperfect conditions. And this is exactly the kind of fertile ground that makes the 2005 cent such an exciting topic, because it has been discovered in several notable varieties and error forms, each of which can drive the coin's value up dramatically. And these include die cracks, die chips, doubling errors, off-center strikes, planchet anomalies, missing details due to grease-filled dies, incorrect metal compositions, misaligned dies, broad strikes, and even retained interior die breaks, with each of these contributing to a growing catalog of 2005 errors that collectors actively seek out. And it all starts with one of the more commonly known and collected error types, the double die, which occurs when the coin is struck by a die that has received a misaligned or multiple impressions during the hubbing process. And for 2005, several double die obverse and reverse varieties have been recorded, with visible doubling found on Lincoln's eyes, lips, the date, and the lettering in God We Trust and Liberty, as well as on the Lincoln Memorial itself on the reverse, where additional lines appear within the columns or roof area. And under magnification these errors can be quite pronounced and striking, making them instantly valuable to collectors who specialize in die varieties. And moving on from doubling, another commonly seen and highly desirable error in the 2005 cent is the presence of significant die cracks and cuds, which happen when a portion of the die breaks off or weakens, causing raised, unintentional lines or blobs of metal to appear on the coin where the die has failed. And in some spectacular 2005 examples, cuds can be seen on the rim near Lincoln's head or shoulders, sometimes creating large blobs that distort part of the coin's design and make that specimen a one-of-a-kind item. And the larger and more pronounced the cud, the more interest it generates from collectors, particularly when it affects key parts of the design or shows a dramatic break from the norm. And then there's the realm of off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly aligned during striking and ends up being imprinted off its center axis, resulting in a crescent-shaped blank area on the surface of the coin and an incomplete design. And in the 2005 Lincoln cent, off-center errors ranging from 5% to over 50% have been discovered, and the value increases significantly if the date and mint mark remain visible, as this preserves the coin's identity while showcasing the dramatic nature of the minting error. And collectors are especially drawn to such coins when they fall within a narrow off-center range that balances visibility and aesthetic appeal. And one of the most fascinating error types that has surfaced in the 2005 penny is the result of a misaligned die, where either the obverse or reverse die becomes slightly or severely shifted, resulting in a coin with the reverse image tilted or misplaced compared to the obverse, creating a warped perspective that can be both bizarre and beautiful, and although subtle misalignments are relatively common, extreme cases where one side is dramatically off or the edge design bleeds off the rim are extremely rare and valuable, especially when preserved in uncirculated condition. And then we come to the missing design details caused by grease-filled dies, which happens when the die used to strike the coin becomes clogged with debris, typically minting grease mixed with metal shavings, resulting in weak or missing details on the coin surface. And on the 2005 penny, this can manifest as missing letters in Liberty, or faint impressions in God We Trust, or even partial facial features on Lincoln's profile being indistinct or completely gone. And because such coins were initially accepted in circulation, many remain undiscovered in penny jars or coin rolls, waiting to be identified and valued. And more rare still are coins that were struck on improper planchets, and a few 2005 pennies have been reported to be minted on dime planchets, foreign coin planchets, or even blank planchets intended for other denominations, resulting in coins that are thinner, smaller, or the wrong color entirely. And these planchet errors are highly prized because they are extremely difficult to fake and often catch even the most experienced coin handlers by surprise. And what sets the 2005 penny apart from many other error coins is the variety and frequency with which these anomalies appear, suggesting that 2005 was a year of intense production where quality control occasionally took a back seat to output volume, allowing more errors to slip through undetected, and these errors didn't always happen in isolation. Some extraordinary 2005 specimens feature more than one error, such as a double die coin with a major cud, or an off-center strike with a planchet flaw, or even a coin with missing design elements on both the obverse and reverse. And these multi-error coins are particularly valuable as they represent an even rarer intersection of minting mistakes, with some being sold for hundreds and occasionally thousands of dollars depending on grade and severity. And speaking of grade, the condition of the coin plays a massive role in its market value, with examples in mint state, MS, condition fetching far more than circulated counterparts, and grading services like PCGS and NGC have authenticated and encapsulated dozens of error 2005 pennies, sometimes giving them special labels or error notations that enhance their appeal at auction and increase their trustworthiness to prospective buyers. And the story of the $582 2005 penny in particular is one of intrigue and admiration among the coin community, as this specific coin was discovered to contain multiple error types, a dramatic die crack running across Lincoln's forehead, a misaligned reverse that skewed the memorial slightly off-axis, and faint doubling on the date and Liberty, all preserved in an exceptional state of preservation with strong luster and no signs of wear. And its sale price of $582 was not only a testament to its uniqueness but also to the ever-growing collector demand for dramatic and well-documented minting errors. And this coin's journey from an ordinary cent to a headline-grabbing collector's item highlights the broader appeal and potential of modern coin hunting, reminding everyone that rare and valuable coins don't only exist in centuries-old collections but can be found right now, in pocket change, in coin rolls from the bank, in jars of forgotten currency sitting on kitchen counters. And as more people become aware of these errors, more coins are being examined and discovered, which only fuels the market further and draws more attention to coins like the 2005 Lincoln Cent, which may have once seemed like just another year in the series but has proven to be a goldmine of variation, error, and value. And what makes the pursuit even more thrilling is that most of these errors are identifiable without expensive equipment, just a good magnifying glass, proper lighting, some reference materials, and patience. And this democratizes coin collecting in a way that makes it accessible to everyone from seasoned professionals to curious newcomers, and the continued documentation of new varieties and previously unknown errors adds excitement to the hobby, as every new find deepens our understanding of the minting process and the incredible diversity that exists even among so-called common coins. And so the next time you find a 2005 penny, don't just toss it aside. Examine it closely, look for signs of doubling, cracks, chips, off-centering, missing details, discoloration, or anything that seems just a little bit off, because that little anomaly might just be your ticket to a windfall. And even if it isn't worth $582, the satisfaction of discovering a mint error, the thrill of the hunt, and the potential for building a valuable collection make every coin worth looking at twice. And with more and more collectors turning their attention to modern error coins, The 2005 1 cent remains a standout example of how mistakes can turn into masterpieces. Ordinary can become extraordinary, and value can hide in the smallest of places. Next, 1992 D1 cent USA coin, pocket change meets possibilities and where ordinary coins turn into extraordinary treasures, and today we're diving into one of the most fascinating modern Lincoln cents in US coin history, the 1992 D1 cent coin, which in some cases has shocked collectors by selling for as much as $390 because of the rare and remarkable minting errors and die varieties that have elevated its status from everyday currency to a must-have collectible in the numismatic world. And while most people may pass over a 1992 D penny without a second thought, those in the know understand that some of these coins hide secrets that only careful observation, knowledge, and attention to detail can uncover, and it is precisely these hidden features, errors, mistakes, anomalies, and variations that make the 1992 D penny one of the most intriguing modern coins to analyze, collect, and value. And to understand why this 1 cent piece can command such a premium, we must start by exploring its historical and technical context, beginning with the fact that the 1992 D penny was struck at the Denver Mint and was part of the standard Lincoln Memorial cent series, which had been ongoing since 1959 following the redesign that replaced the wheat ears reverse with the Lincoln Memorial Building, and by 1992, billions of these coins had been struck, and the design had become a familiar staple of American coinage. But that year something unusual happened, something that slipped past quality control and wasn't noticed until years later when diligent collectors began studying these coins under magnification and discovered that some 1992 D pennies bore a design feature that shouldn't have existed. A close AM reverse design intended for proof coins had been used on business strike coins, and this rare and subtle design difference is now known as the 1992 D close AM variety. And what makes it particularly valuable is how rare it is and how easy it is to overlook, because to the untrained eye, the coin looks just like every other 1992 D cent, but under scrutiny you'll see that the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America is much tighter than on regular business strike coins, where the A and M are clearly separated, and this close AM reverse was supposed to be used only on proof coins from the San Francisco Mint, but a small number of the reverse dies intended for proof use were somehow used to strike regular business strikes at the Denver Mint, resulting in an accidental and extremely collectible variety that has caused a sensation in the numismatic community ever since its discovery, and the 1992 D close AM is one of the most famous modern Lincoln cent rarities, fetching hundreds or even thousands of dollars when authenticated in high grade, and that alone would make this coin worth a closer look. But it's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the errors and mistakes that have made certain examples of the 1992 D penny so valuable, because in addition to the close AM variety, other minting anomalies have been found on 1992 D cents including die cracks, die chips, cuds, doubling, misaligned dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, struck through debris, planchette flaws, and even incorrect planchette strikes, and each of these errors adds its own layer of uniqueness and potential value, especially when they are dramatic and easily visible to the naked eye, or when they occur in combination, starting with die cracks and chips which are caused by stress fractures and breakage in the dies that strike the coins, and on the 1992 D penny, collectors have found impressive examples of die cracks stretching across Lincoln's face or bust, as well as die chips that appear as raised blobs of metal in areas like Lincoln's nose, beard, or the lettering around the rim, and these errors are often referred to with names like booger nose or beard chip by collectors and are popular not only for their uniqueness but also because they are fun and distinctive, and large cuds, which are chunks of metal appearing on the rim or fields due to broken die edges, are even more dramatic and can greatly increase a coin's value depending on size and placement. And then there are double die varieties, where doubling occurs on the design elements due to a misalignment in the die hubbing process, and while not as well documented on the 1992 D penny as in some other years, careful study has revealed light doubling in the date and lettering on some specimens which, when confirmed by expert grading services, can dramatically boost a coin's desirability and market value. And another category of error that's especially fascinating is off-center strikes, where the planchette is misaligned at the time of striking and the design is shifted away from the center, creating a coin with part of the design missing and a blank crescent of metal visible. And these errors range in severity, with the most valuable examples typically being those that are between 10 and 50% off-center and still show the full date and mint mark, and similarly broad-struck coins are struck without the retaining collar, causing the coin to spread wider and thinner than normal and usually resulting in a soft, distorted appearance that is visually striking and collectible. And even more rare are coins that were struck on the wrong planchet, such as a 1992 D penny accidentally struck on a dime planchet, which would result in a smaller, lighter coin with missing portions of the design due to size mismatch, and these wrong planchet errors are among the most valuable because they require a rare combination of events and are easily authenticated by weight and size differences, and planchet flaws also contribute to a coin's collectability, particularly when caused by impurities in the metal or improper rolling, which can cause lamination errors where the coin surface peels or flakes, or blister-like bubbles to appear under the surface, and these defects often appear as raised or sunken areas, and when confirmed as mint-made rather than post-mint damage can increase a coin's appeal, and the presence of struck-through errors is another area where value is found, particularly when a foreign object like grease, string, or metal shavings interferes with the strike and leaves an impression on the coin's surface, and these errors are often highly unusual and artistic in appearance, sometimes obscuring part of Lincoln's face or the memorial on the reverse, and collectors prize them for their randomness and the story they tell about the minting process, and perhaps most valuable of all are those 1992 AD pennies that combine multiple errors, such as a close AM reverse with doubling, a die chip, and a struck-through element, making them complex and extremely rare, and the rarity is amplified even more when these coins are found in high-grade condition, as most Lincoln cents circulate heavily and become worn down quickly, so a mint-state 1992 AD penny with significant errors is exponentially more valuable than a similar error coin that's heavily worn, and when authenticated and encapsulated by services like PCGS, NGC, or ANAX, the value can skyrocket, especially if the error is well documented and has appeared at auction, with auction houses frequently listing top examples of 1992 D close AM pennies with premiums well into the hundreds or thousands of dollars depending on condition, rarity, and demand. And these sales reinforce the reality that error coins are not just curiosities but viable investments and collector's items, and what makes the 1992 AD cent particularly compelling is how its most valuable variety, the close AM, remains difficult to identify with the naked eye and requires careful observation or magnification, meaning that many more examples may still be hiding in circulation or in old coin jars, awaiting discovery by sharp-eyed collectors, and this treasure hunt aspect adds excitement and accessibility to the hobby, encouraging people of all ages to search their pocket change, bank rolls, and coin collections for hidden gems, and because the 1992 AD penny remains in circulation and is often overlooked, the potential to find a valuable example remains very real even today, making it one of the most promising modern coins to study and search for. And the fact that it has already sold for as much as $390 is a testament to how seemingly minor design features and minting mishaps can turn a 1-cent coin into a prized collectible, and it teaches us that the world of coins is one of patience, observation, and education, and that even the most common objects can hold hidden value if we take the time to look closer. So if you're a coin collector, a hobbyist, or just someone curious about the value hiding in your spare change, the 1992 AD penny is a coin worth paying attention to, and by learning to spot the close AM reverse, by understanding the various types of mint errors that can appear, and by appreciating the intricate process behind coin production and the ways it can sometimes go wrong, you open the door to not just collecting but to discovering and preserving a piece of modern American minting history. And as more collectors enter the field and awareness of these varieties grows, it's likely that prices will continue to rise and that the 1992 D penny will maintain its place among the most iconic and sought-after error coins of the Lincoln Memorial Series, so don't overlook that small copper-plated coin in your change drawer, because with a bit of luck and a lot of knowledge, you just might hold a piece of treasure worth hundreds of dollars, and in the case of the 1992, the D 1-cent coin, history, rarity, and imperfection have come together in a way that reminds us why coin collecting is not just a hobby but a journey of discovery and value. Next, 1997 1-cent USA coin. Today we're exploring one of the most surprising and fascinating coins in modern numismatic history, the 1997 1-cent coin, a simple Lincoln penny that, in certain rare instances, has reached a value of $254 because of a variety of extraordinary minting errors and anomalies that have catapulted it from common currency to collector's prize, and while most people see a 1997 penny as just another copper-plated zinc coin in circulation, sharp-eyed collectors and seasoned numismatists know that this year's production run at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints resulted in an unexpected number of notable errors, flaws, and variations that make some 1997 pennies significantly more valuable than their 1-cent face value would suggest. And when it comes to collecting error coins, the key to value lies in rarity, visibility, and condition. And the 1997 penny has delivered on all fronts, starting with its most documented and desired error type, double die varieties, which occur when the die used to strike the coin was improperly impressed during the hubbing process, resulting in duplicated images on the coin that can appear in the lettering, the date, and even on Lincoln's profile itself. And on 1997 pennies, examples of doubling have been found in the word Liberty, in the date numbers where the tops or bottoms of the digits appear as faint shadows or full overlapping strokes. And even in In God We Trust, with some varieties so subtle they require a loupe or microscope, and others so bold they can be seen with the naked eye. And these double die errors, when authenticated and graded, have reached values ranging from tens to hundreds of dollars, especially when found in mint state condition with minimal wear and strong eye appeal. But the story doesn't stop there, because another highly collectible error found on 1997 pennies is the die crack or die break, where the steel dies used to strike the coins develop fractures from overuse or stress, and when these cracked dies are used in production, they leave behind raised lines on the finished coins, often running across Lincoln's face, shoulders, or the reverse fields near the Lincoln Memorial, and larger cracks that reach the rim are known as retained cuds, and full die breakouts form massive blobs of metal that completely distort the coin's design. And these dramatic mint flaws are highly prized due to their visual uniqueness and their one-of-a-kind nature, with no two being exactly alike, and many 1997 cents have been found with significant die breaks and cracks, some even forming wild patterns that give the coin the appearance of being stitched or slashed across its surfaces, and each of these anomalies increases the intrigue and marketability of the coin, and collectors love coins with names and stories, such as a lightning bolt crack or beard cud, names given to some of the more unusual 1997 examples seen in private collections and online auctions. And moving further into the world of striking errors, 1997 also saw the release of a number of pennies with off-center strikes, which happen when the coin blank, or planchette, is not properly centered under the dies at the time of striking, and the result is a coin that is partially blank and partially struck, with some off-center errors reaching as much as 60% off and still retaining visible dates and mint marks, which are the holy grail for collectors, and even lesser off-center strikes, in the 10 to 30% range, can fetch substantial premiums depending on grade and visual appeal, especially if the design elements are cleanly preserved. And related to off-center errors are broad strikes, where the collar that usually restrains the coin during striking fails, causing the metal to spread outward and form a wider, flatter coin with mushy edges. And these errors are less dramatic than off-centers but are still popular, particularly when combined with other anomalies. And then there are planchette errors, where the coin blank itself is flawed before striking, and in 1997 a number of coins have been reported with lamination errors, flaws in the metal that result in parts of the coin's surface peeling or flaking away, and these coins often exhibit bubbling, rough textures, or missing layers that expose the underlying zinc core. And while some lamination issues are mistaken for damage, when properly authenticated they are extremely collectible and valuable, especially when large areas are affected and the flaw intersects with design elements like Lincoln's face or the memorial columns. And even rarer are examples of 1997 pennies struck on the wrong planchette altogether, such as coins struck on dime planchets, which result in smaller, lighter coins with missing parts of the design because the smaller dime-sized blank cannot capture the full penny design. And these coins are highly valuable due to their rarity and the precision required to authenticate them, and weighing just 2.5 grams instead of 2.5 for zinc cents or more for copper-based errors. These coins are often detected by collectors using digital scales to identify outliers in weight. And another fascinating category includes struck-through errors, where foreign objects like grease, cloth, or metal shavings get between the die and planchette during the strike, leaving behind unusual textures, depressions, or ghost-like impressions. And some 1997 pennies have shown struck-through string or cloth patterns that almost resemble textile textures embedded into the coin surface, while others appear to be missing entire design elements due to grease-filled dies. And these coins often fetch higher values because they show dramatic, mysterious features that make them stand out in any collection. And another issue that can add value is the presence of missing design elements due to filled dies, where portions of the die are clogged, causing weak or completely absent letters and numbers, such as the Liberty. Missing its FL or the date showing only 3 visible digits, and while subtle, these errors are intriguing and can become quite valuable when found in uncirculated condition, especially when paired with other striking anomalies, and 1997 also presents opportunities for discovering doubled-ear Lincoln varieties, where Lincoln's earlobe appears doubled due to a die anomaly, a subtle but well-documented and collectible error that appeals to fans of the so-called extra ear and double ear. Varieties found in other years as well, and perhaps the most intriguing aspect of the 1997 penny is how so many of these error types can appear together, forming multi-error coins that are incredibly rare and desirable, such as a coin with a retained cud, an off-center strike, and a struck-through impression, all in one, and these combinations are not just valuable, they are unique, each one telling a story of minting chaos and mechanical failure that turns an ordinary cent into a work of industrial art, and in one known case, a 1997 penny with light doubling in Liberty, a visible die chip in Lincoln's beard, and a 10% off-center strike sold for $254 at auction, thanks to its pristine state and the combination of errors that made it a standout among modern cents. And while not every 1997 penny will be worth hundreds of dollars, the possibility of finding even one of these varieties makes it worth paying close attention, especially when searching through coin rolls, pocket change, or inherited jars of old pennies. And because these coins were produced in the billions, there are still countless examples in circulation or tucked away in drawers waiting to be discovered, and the thrill of the hunt, combined with the educational value of studying minting processes and learning to identify error types, makes collecting 1997 pennies both a fun and potentially profitable hobby. And as awareness grows and more collectors enter the field, demand for high-grade error coins continues to rise, particularly those certified by grading services like PCGS, NGC, or ANAX, which lend credibility and boost resale value, and collectors often search for examples in mint state condition, graded MS65 or higher, where the luster remains intact and the coin exhibits sharp detail, and these examples often become centerpieces of error coin collections, especially when the errors are dramatic or well-placed, and even circulated coins with clear errors can be worth substantial sums, especially when they are rare varieties or visually impressive. And so if you're someone who's ever overlooked a penny or passed up the chance to check your change, the story of the 1997 1-cent coin should give you a reason to look again, because the next $254 coin could be sitting unnoticed in your pocket, purse, or coin jar, waiting for a second chance at recognition, and with a bit of knowledge, a magnifying glass, and a keen eye, you could be the next lucky person to find a coin that turns out to be not just a penny, but a piece of history, a minting mystery, and a valuable addition to the world of modern numismatics. So keep searching, keep collecting, and never underestimate the power of a single cent. Next 2005 1-cent USA coin. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of a seemingly ordinary coin that, under the right conditions, can become a rare and incredibly valuable find. Yes, we're talking about the 2005 1-cent coin, a Lincoln penny that most people would overlook or drop into a change jar without a second thought, but in certain rare instances, due to a wide array of extraordinary minting errors and production mistakes, this coin has shocked collectors and dealers alike, by reaching a value as high as $464, making it one of the most sought-after modern-era coins among numismatists. And the incredible thing about this particular penny is not just its age or design, but the subtle and sometimes dramatic anomalies that can occur during the minting process that turned this humble copper-plated zinc disc into a high-demand collectible. So let's begin our deep dive into the world of 2005 Lincoln cents and explore exactly what makes them so valuable, starting with the production details of the coin itself, because understanding how and where the coin was minted provides key insight into the types of errors that can occur and why they matter so much to collectors, with the 2005 1-cent coin featuring the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse side, designed by Victor David Brenner, a design that has been in use since 1909 to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday. And on the reverse we find the Lincoln Memorial, a motif that began in 1959. To mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, continuing up through 2008 before being replaced by the new Union Shield reverse in 2010, and while the design elements of the 2005 penny are standard and familiar to most Americans, the striking anomalies that can occur on this particular year's coin make it a standout in the eyes of those who know what to look for, with errors ranging from dramatic die clashes, double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die caps, misaligned dies, incorrect planches, and even rare transitional errors or experimental planches. And while any one of these errors can raise a coin's value significantly, what truly drives the price up to that $464 level or beyond is a combination of rarity, condition, and the dramatic visual appeal of the error. So let's talk first about one of the most desirable error types for the 2005 penny, the double die, which occurs when the die used to strike the coin is improperly manufactured and features doubling of the design elements, especially noticeable on the inscriptions like Liberty, the date 2005, and the motto In God We Trust, where clear separation between the letters or numbers can be observed without magnification in some cases. And when this type of doubling is strong and dramatic, collectors pay a premium, especially when the coin is in uncirculated or mint state condition, with some examples known to fetch well into the hundreds of dollars. But beyond doubling, another extremely popular and valuable error is the off-center strike, where the coin is struck outside the center of the blank planchet, resulting in a crescent-shaped void on one side and a distorted design on the other, and the degree of off-center misalignment can significantly affect the coin's value, with a 5% off-center coin being far less desirable than one that's 50% off-center yet still shows a full or partial date, since retaining the date is key for error attribution and numismatic value. And when we find a 2005 penny struck 40% to 60% off-center with a visible date and in high grade, the value can easily skyrocket to hundreds of dollars, especially if it's certified by a third-party grading company like PCGS or NGC. And then there's the fascinating category of broad-struck coins, which occur when the coin is struck outside the retaining collar that normally keeps it perfectly round and within diameter specifications, resulting in a wider, flatter appearance, often accompanied by a lack of reading on the edges. And while not quite as dramatic as off-center strikes, broad-struck coins from 2005 can still command strong interest from collectors, especially in pristine condition. And when you add in the rare but possible scenario of a 2005 penny struck on an incorrect planchet, such as a planchet intended for a foreign coin or for a different US denomination, the value potential increases even more, since these wrong planchet errors often result in underweight or overweight coins, or coins with unusual coloration due to different metal compositions. And there have even been reports of 2005 pennies struck on dime planches or foreign planches, which can cause the coin to appear silver or smaller than usual, instantly catching the eye of experienced collectors who know how rare such errors are. And of course, let's not forget about die caps and struck-through errors, both of which add another layer of collectability to 2005 pennies, with die caps resulting in ghost-like mirror images on the coin's surface when a struck coin becomes stuck to the die and continues to strike subsequent planches, while struck-through errors occur when foreign material like grease, cloth, or metal shavings interfere during the strike, leaving bizarre indentations, textures, or even holes on the coin's surface. And these errors can create incredibly unique one-of-a-kind coins, sometimes referred to as minting freaks by collectors. And when such a coin is preserved in high grade, its value can easily exceed expectations, especially when paired with solid provenance or a major auction listing. And speaking of auctions, the rise of online marketplaces has further fueled the value of 2005 pennies with errors, as listings with strong images of dramatic errors can go viral in numismatic communities, pushing prices beyond established guidebook estimates and creating sudden demand for specific error types. And this is where condition and certification play a vital role, as a 2005 penny with a major error might only bring $25 to $50 if circulated and damaged, but that same coin in a mint state, slabbed by PCGS or NGC, and labeled with an error designation, can break into the hundreds, especially if it's one of a kind or a newly discovered variety. And that brings us to another important point: the possibility that undiscovered varieties or undocumented errors still exist in pocket change today, as the US Mint produces billions of coins each year, and even with quality control, errors slip through, and sharp-eyed collectors or hobbyists who actively search rolls of coins from banks or coin-counting machines sometimes stumble upon unknown or unrecognized varieties that, once authenticated and publicized, become the next big thing in the error-collecting world, meaning that your average-looking 2005 penny could be a hidden gem just waiting to be discovered. And the beauty of coin collecting, especially with modern errors, is that it combines history, art, metallurgy, and detective work into a single object that you can hold in your hand, and in the case of the 2005 penny, we also have to consider the broader context of its production era, when the US Mint was experiencing both technological transitions and increasing demand for coins, which may have led to lapses in quality control or experimentation with equipment that, inadvertently, led to some of these stunning errors, and when we consider the enormous mintage numbers for 2005 or several billion coins produced across the Philadelphia and Denver mints, it becomes even more impressive that certain errors manage to stand out and become so valuable, and this also underscores the importance of examining every coin closely, because a dramatic error might be buried in a sea of otherwise ordinary coins, and for the collector who finds it, it could mean a small fortune or at the very least, an exciting addition to a growing collection. And what makes this all the more exciting is that these coins are still in circulation, still being spent, saved, and forgotten in drawers and jars across the country, meaning that opportunities to find these treasures are still very real and accessible to anyone willing to look, and for those who become skilled at identifying the telltale signs of valuable 2005 pennies, whether it's the doubling of letters, the shifted strikes, the odd weight or color, or the warped and distorted shapes, the rewards can be both financial and deeply satisfying. Because collecting coins, especially error coins, is not just about the money, but about the story each coin tells and the mystery behind how such an error occurred, and every nick, groove, or anomaly might be the clue that transforms a common coin into a coveted prize. And the best part is, you don't need to be a professional to start, just a magnifying glass, a scale, and a little patience can lead you to fascinating finds. And as more collectors share their discoveries online and databases of known errors expand, it becomes easier to research and verify your own coins, opening up a whole new world of discovery and potential profit. And so, the next time you get change from a store or cash a roll of pennies at your bank, take a close look at every 2005 penny you find, because while most are worth just 1 cent, a few could be worth $464 or more due to these incredible minting errors and mistakes. And who knows, you might be the next person to uncover a rare variety that sends shockwaves through the numismatic world, reminding us once again that sometimes, the smallest things can carry the greatest value, and that treasure can be hiding in plain sight right in your pocket. Last 2011 1-cent USA coin. Today we're turning our attention to the 2011 1-cent coin, the humble Lincoln penny that, despite its modern mintage and familiar design, has been known to reach values of up to $200 in specific cases due to fascinating minting errors and production mistakes that elevate this ordinary coin into the realm of serious collectibles. And what makes the 2011 penny so compelling is not only its relatively recent origin but also the surprising array of anomalies and error types that have emerged from that year, ranging from dramatic die clashes and double die obverses to off-center strikes, misaligned dies, die breaks, cuds, struck-through errors, and even rare instances of wrong planchette strikes, all of which contribute to the allure and rarity of the coin when these defects are clearly visible, sharply defined, and authenticated by reputable grading services such as PCGS or NGC. So let's first consider the basic background of the 2011 penny to understand the context from which these valuable errors arise, with the coin featuring the Union Shield design on the reverse, introduced in 2010 as a representation of national unity and intended to replace the previous Lincoln Memorial reverse design that had been in use since 1959, and on the obverse side of the coin remains the classic profile of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner and in circulation since 1909, and though the design was well established and the minting process in 2011 benefited from modern technological advancements, even the most advanced systems are not immune to occasional errors, and when errors occur in an era of high mintage and rapid production like 2011, they are often either missed entirely or assumed to be anomalies of no particular value, until collectors begin to notice patterns or discover coins with striking visual defects that indicate something much more significant than simple wear or damage, and that's exactly the case with several of the 2011 pennies that have emerged in recent years. Coins that at first glance might appear like typical cents but upon closer examination reveal doubling in the inscription such as "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2011 itself, and when this doubling is bold and visible without magnification, it falls into the category of a double die obverse, a type of error that occurs when the die used to strike the coin is itself misaligned during its creation, creating a coin with design elements. that appear twice in slightly offset positions, and collectors seek out such coins not only for their aesthetic appeal but also for their relative rarity, since not every batch or even every coin from an affected die will exhibit the doubling clearly, and the clearer and more dramatic the doubling, the higher the potential value, with some strong double die 2011 pennies fetching values close to or even exceeding $200 depending on the coin's condition and how early in the die's life it was struck, since early strikes tend to be cleaner and more defined, adding to their appeal. And then there are the off-center strikes, one of the most visually obvious and intriguing types of mint errors, where the coin is struck outside the center of the blank planchet, resulting in a partial design that appears to drift toward the edge, and in some extreme cases, only a portion of Lincoln's bust and the Union shield might appear on the coin's surface, while the rest remains blank, giving it a crescent moon shape or even a completely unique silhouette, and collectors especially value these coins when the date is fully visible, as this allows for precise identification and authentication, and the more dramatic the off-center strike, the higher the potential value, with 2011 pennies struck 50% or more off-center and retaining a full date often bringing in hundreds of dollars at auction or in private sales. And another important error to discuss is the misaligned die strike, which can occur when either the obverse or reverse die is not properly aligned during striking, resulting in a coin that looks slightly rotated or off-axis, and while minor misalignments are not terribly rare or valuable, significant misalignments that produce a coin with a visible shift or a clearly lopsided appearance can be very collectible, especially when the coin is in uncirculated condition. And closely related to this is the broad strike error, where the coin is struck without the retaining collar in place, leading to a coin that is wider and flatter than normal, often lacking a defined rim and appearing stretched, and this error type is particularly attractive when the coin's design is fully intact and the details are sharp, as collectors appreciate both the error and the preservation of the design elements, and these two can reach values of $200 or more depending on condition and dramatic effect. And now let's delve into struck-through errors, a fascinating category where foreign material gets between the die and the planchet during striking, which can result in indents, voids, or unusual textures on the coin's surface, and in 2011 pennies, some of these errors have involved grease-filled dies that obscure parts of the design, leading to missing letters or blurred imagery, while others have involved fibers, metal shavings, or other debris that leave distinctive imprints on the coin's face, and these coins, when visually dramatic and in high grade, can command significant premiums, and the rarity of these errors combined with their unusual appearance makes them stand out to collectors and often places them in specialized error collections. And still more dramatic are the so-called wrong planchet errors, where a coin is struck on a blank intended for another denomination or even another country's currency, resulting in a coin that may be underweight, the wrong color, or incorrectly sized. And while these are exceedingly rare for 2011, any confirmed instances are worth investigating and can easily exceed the $200 mark, particularly if the error is obvious and well documented. And then there are die breaks and cuds, which are raised areas or missing chunks in the design caused by a cracked or damaged die, and these can vary from minor hairline cracks to massive blobs of metal that distort large portions of the coin. And while minor die breaks may not significantly raise a coin's value, large or unusual cuds on 2011 pennies can be both rare and desirable, especially when they occur on critical parts of the design such as Lincoln's face or the Union shield. And what's truly important to understand is that value is not just determined by the type of error, but also by the condition of the coin, its eye appeal, the clarity of the error, and whether it's been certified by a reputable grading company, with coins in mint state or brilliant uncirculated condition fetching far more than similar coins in circulated or damaged condition. And the story becomes even more interesting when you consider that many of these valuable 2011 pennies have been found in circulation, in pocket change, in bank rolls, or hidden away in jars of coins forgotten in drawers, meaning that treasure truly could be hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered by an observant collector or an inquisitive beginner just starting out. And this possibility makes the hunt all the more exciting, as even the most common-seeming penny could turn out to have a rare and valuable error if you take the time to examine it closely under good lighting, preferably with a loupe or magnifying glass. And as more examples are discovered and shared through coin forums, auction platforms, and collector groups, the community's understanding of 2011 penny errors continues to grow, with new varieties being catalogued and existing ones being better defined. And this ongoing discovery process means that even now, years after their minting, 2011 pennies are still being studied, reclassified, and appreciated in new ways. And what's even more exciting is that era coins often carry a sense of mystery and unpredictability, as the US Mint does not release detailed records of every error or misstrike that occurs, meaning that the full range of 2011 penny errors is likely still unknown, leaving the door open for new discoveries and even higher valuations in the future, especially as collector demand grows and numismatic interest in modern era coins continues to rise. And it's also worth noting that some collectors focus exclusively on specific era types, creating intense niche demand for coins with certain features, such as extreme doubling, off-center strikes, or spectacular struck-through patterns, which can cause prices to fluctuate depending on market trends and collector enthusiasm. And given that millions of 2011 pennies were minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, errors from each facility have their own characteristics and appeal, with certain die varieties or error patterns being exclusive to one mint or the other, further enhancing the value of mint-specific discoveries. And in this environment of growing collector interest and digital marketplaces that make coin sales and research more accessible than ever, it's no surprise that a humble 2011 penny can rise to a valuation of $200 or more. And it serves as a powerful reminder that with knowledge, patience, and a sharp eye, even the most ordinary object can become something extraordinary. So whether you're a seasoned numismatist or someone just getting into the hobby, don't overlook the pennies in your change, especially those from 2011, because with so many types of errors possible and the ongoing potential for new discoveries, these coins represent not only a fascinating piece of American minting history but also a real